Well, hello and hi to everyone who is either watching online or is with us for the first time. My name is Taylor. For those of you who don't know me, hi, friends, new friends. Nice to meet you. We have a third installment in our series called Rad. I hope you like my hair. For I actually vaguely remember as like a fifth grader, like having like a nice little part like this, and I looked a little bit more ridiculous. No, never mind. I think I look more ridiculous now. Never mind. Anyways. It was a time 30 years ago. Makes me feel super old, but here we are. So this week we are talking more about rad. Remember that rad kind of means like cool, like it's really, you guys don't ever use the word rad, but it's kind of short for radical, meaning things that are not normal. And so you guys were doing a couple of terms that you were finding over there that were some pretty rad words or some pretty rad things at the time, like sup. Did anyone find the word sup? Those are always hard, like the three-letter word. I don't know. For me, the word searches, those are really, really hard. But I wanted to show you just a little bit of review for the last couple weeks. We've been talking about a couple topics. The first one was we were talking about radical people listen more than they speak, right? That's what Becky was sharing with us. And then radical people don't play favorites. Those are the two things we've been learning over the weeks. And this week is something different. I'm not going to spill the beans quite yet. But I did want to use this opportunity to talk about, raise your hand if you know who Uncle Urkel is. Steve Urkel. I am so proud, seriously, so proud that you guys know. All right, don't tell, put your hand back down. You'll see. Not everyone has experienced Urkel, but we're about to experience Urkel. This is from Family Matters. So in a little bit, and you'll hear the phrase, did I do that? And you'll be like, oh my gosh, it's that guy. Some of you will love him, some of you will think he's ridiculous. But here comes Uncle.
Did I do that? 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 Did I do that?
Did I do that?
Did I do that? Did I do that? Did I do that? Did I do that? Did I do that? Did I do that?
Did I do that?
Table for two.
Did I do that? Did I do that? Did I do that? Did I do that?
Did you do that?
Did I do that? Did I do that? Did I do that?
Did I do that? Did I do that?
Did I do that? Did we do that? Did I 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 do that?
All right, do you think we get the picture? Okay. All right. Thank you.
That video is every single one that he ever did in the whole series.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So he's a little odd, a little bit of an oddball. He's kind of nerdy looking. Everyone liked the suspenders he's sporting out in front and just kind of laid back nature. When he walks, you'll see he walks a little bit like this. Just a goofy looking guy. All right? And what's really neat about this in particular is he's got a couple of clumsy moments, a couple of goofy moments in here. However, there's a certain character in the show that you're going to hear about. His name is Fufner. And the two of them kind of go head to head. And he's not the nicest of fellows, not Urkel. We love Urkel. But it's really cool because he gets this really great comeback line. And everyone watching the show goes, yes! So here it comes.
Hey, what you gonna do, Willie? I'ma trash Urkel's locker.
Why you gonna do that, Willie?
'Cause it's Tuesday. Again? Not me, Potato Face.
Potato Face. Now there's a real mastery of the English language. Fellow students, I implore you, isn't there one of you with the guts to come forth and testify against this ruffian? Sheep. You're all sheep.
Oh, sorry, there's more to that scene. Anyways, at one point, it goes on that this is the chick that he really likes, and Fufner says something that's a little bit insulting about her, and he walks up with like a glove, and he goes, "Whoosh, you have insulted my lady love," and it's just a really great moment. It's just hysterical, but that's Urkel. So when you're watching it, you're like, all right, Urkel stood up for himself. That's a really great moment that we got to see. But has anyone ever had something like that with you, where it was, oh, I think scoot ahead, one more, there we go, where you have maybe let that word sparring between you and a friend, or you and maybe not such a nice person, or you and a family member, they kind of like, it spiraled out of control, so that it got to a physical altercation of some sort. Have you gotten angry because of someone's words recently? Think for a second. I'll just ask for honesty in church if you can identify with these. Has anyone gotten angry recently because of someone's words? Raise your hand if that's you. I have. All right, that's about a third or half of us. Have you been hurt or embarrassed by someone's words recently? Raise your hand if that's you. You've been hurt by somebody. Ooh, more than we would like, yeah. Have you said anything to anger, hurt, or embarrass someone else recently? Ooh, that's the one that stings, right? You're like, oh, yep, I have so done that. All right, put your hands back down. Thank you very much for being honest, just with your ideas. I did want to share the main theme for today, and that is that radical people watch their words. That's the main thing we're learning about today, is radical people watch their words. Remember, we've been reading out of James. We're going to get there in a little bit. But I got a quick little story time. And that is that I have, being someone who's grown up and been a youth as well, have felt the power of words on someone else, on me, right? And so the one that comes to my mind is actually a very powerful phrase, and I do not use it sparingly, and I really don't like to use it now because I think it is so strong, but I'm going to anyways. The phrase is disappointed. I am disappointed. Raise your hand if you have heard of someone saying to someone else, or even had it said to you, I am disappointed. All right, put your hands back down. I have found that phrase so hurtful because it means that there was an expectation that you should have known and you didn't meet it. When you go and look at the definition of disappointed, it means feeling let down or feeling displeased by someone else's performance, right? The reason why it's so powerful is because if you just say the word, I am disappointed, it means so much more. And what I mean by that is, look at me, all of you right here, we love you. We love you. We are not disappointed in you, in who you are. Pause with that thought. Can we be disappointed in what you do? Yes. Do you see the distinction? Right? If you do not qualify by saying, I am disappointed in you, or if you just say, I am disappointed, that can be so damaging. And it has been to me. When someone says, I'm so disappointed, right? That just cuts you really deep. And I wanted to just say that to begin with, also because more often than not, it's the people who you love or who are close to you who will say it. Doesn't that hurt even more? Not sure if you agree. It hurts even more when it's someone that you love or who that you're close to who is like, I'm disappointed in you. You should have known better. That just, right? So I just wanted to share that because I've been there and I know that. And I just ask you to be careful not to be that person who says that because it hurts so much. But we have been reading about Jesus specifically through James, the book of James. Remind me, does anyone remember the relationship between Jesus and James? Raise your hand if you remember. Raise your hand if you remember. Go, what is it? It's his brother. Yeah, it's his brother, right? From the same mother, right? This is James, brother of Jesus. Do you think that maybe the two of them argued a little? Yeah. Raise your hand if you have a fairly frequent argument with a brother or sister in your household. Raise your hand. That is all of you, unless you don't have siblings. All of you, right? We just do that. We argue. Can you imagine for a second arguing with Jesus?
Oh my goodness, I would love it.
I have a feeling because, he was God with skin on, he was right a lot of the time. I would not like to argue with someone like that. Can we agree? Probably don't want to argue with that kind of person. I'm just saying. But this is still about James. And so James talks about a lot of Jesus' lessons, after Jesus had ascended, and James actually ended up being the head of the church afterwards, after Jesus' ascension. But he uses a lot of really great imagery when he's reading. And so I do have some props that are here that I'm going to be sharing in a little bit. Some of them are some of the grossest things. Well, no, this thing in particular is one of the grossest things I have ever brought into Quest. And I'm very excited to share it with you because I'm a science teacher and we do stuff like this. But let's read first before we get there. James 3, 2 through 12. We all stumble in many ways. Anyone who is never at fault in what they say is perfect, able to keep their whole body in check. Never able to keep our whole body in check. When we put bits into the mouths of horses to make them obey us, we can turn the whole animal. Or take ships as an example. Although they are so large and driven by strong winds, they are steered by a very small rudder, wherever the pilot wants to go. Likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boasts. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. The tongue is also a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body, sets the whole course of one's life on fire, and is itself set on fire by hell. Whoa! Strong terminology. Are you ready for some word pictures? Here we go. Actually, I'll read this too, but we'll come back to it. All kinds of animals, birds, reptiles, and sea creatures are being tamed and have been tamed by mankind, but no human being can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil full of deadly poison. With the tongue we praise our Lord and Father, and with it we curse human beings who have been made in God's likeness. Out of the same mouth come praise and cursing. My brothers and sisters, this should not be. Can both fresh water and salt water flow from the same spring? My brothers and sisters, can a fig tree bear olives or a grapevine bear figs? Neither can a salt spring produce fresh water. Lots of word imagery here. I want to focus on a couple. The first one is the bit in the horse's mouth. Raise your hand if you've been horseback riding before. And if you haven't, that's okay. It's like one thing that you'll get to eventually. But they have this thing called a bit. And the bit, it seems cruel. It's not as bad as you think it is because how they've designed it. But there's two rings that go from the horse's mouth to the reins. And this is, and so when they pull, they can pull this way and the horse goes this way. And then they're going. Or when they pull this way, it goes this way. So you're able to control from sitting on top of it. Right? It makes a lot of sense, right? It doesn't hurt the horse. The horse's teeth are here and the gums start back here, and that's where so don't feel like it hurts the horse. They're used to it. They kind of go like the way you chew on gum, whatever. They also mentioned the rudder in a ship. This is a really cool diagram. It actually shows the rudder on the inside of the ship. But have you ever been on a plane before and you've seen the rudder on the plane? Same thing. That little boop, just a little bit, can make the entire plane turn 360 on its own, right? So it also talks about a spark and a fire, right? Have you ever heard about the wildfires that keep popping up in California, right? It starts as a spark. The last one, I think it was the last one, was like a bonfire for some sort of celebration or whatever like that. And the one before that was like someone shot a flare off and it landed in the wrong spot, right? Those are little sparks that kind of turn. Can you see how a little thing can make a big difference? Nod your head if you're seeing that. Okay, here's the gross part. Because we are talking about a tongue. Coolest thing I've ever brought to Quest. Oh, it's a little frozen. we have ourselves that. Isn't that fun? This is about the size of a cow's tongue. Yeah? And the coolest part about this thing is that it is, people are like gagging back there. Sorry. Didn't know you were going to come to church and see this, did you? Yeah. This is the strongest muscle in the body. I think it's called the masticator muscle. It's like in your mouth. It is, I think, let me go back and see my, the force with which it is able to change your mouth is like 50 pounds of force and pressure. It is a lot. It is really cold. So I need to put this down just for a second. But this is, yeah, he was a little weirded out and grossed out by that. Is that not awesome? I don't know. But that's a tongue. Some people, like, actually eat the tongue of animals. But it is just a huge muscle. And the things that it said about the tongue were really fascinating. It said it's full of poison. Is this thing actually full of poison? It's a muscle. Is your tongue full of poison? No. Okay, no. But do you see what James means about how it can be full of poison? Right? That it has the ability to kind of poison people's lives. Like when you say the things like, I'm disappointed in you. Right? It can be a poison. It can't be tamed. Now, this thing is a little frozen. This thing has been tamed. But like the tongue inside your mouth, I want you to stop everything just for about 30 seconds. Not even 10 seconds. Don't move your tongue. For 10, I know, right now you're thinking about it. 10 seconds. Don't move your tongue. Five seconds in, I failed. As soon as I started thinking about it and I smiled, my tongue went back in my mouth. It cannot be tamed. It is constantly, so cold, constantly moving, right? Think about anytime you chew, anytime you're thinking or talking, anytime that you are, it doesn't matter. You're making spit all the time. There's a great little molecule in your spit called amylase that's helped you digest things, right? And then it says both blessings and curses. Raise your hand if you found yourself one day saying lots of really nice things to one person, and then just an hour later saying not so nice things to someone else. Raise your hand if you've done that before. Out of the same mouth. Am I dripping? I hope not. No, I don't think so. I'm going to put it down before I do.
Where'd you get that?
I will not tell. Both blessings and curses out of the same opening. You can both be nice and blessing somebody or be cursing them with the same mouth. Doesn't it make you think about your words more? Right? Now, there was a time that Jesus was approaching and confronting the Pharisees. Do you guys remember who the Pharisees are? Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down if you remember who the Pharisees are if I mentioned them. Some people are like thumbs up, thumbs sideways. They're the people who like kind of knew all their stuff but didn't live by it, right? And they saw Jesus as radical. They actually called him radical, which if Jesus is radical, I don't really want to be normal, right? But here's what Jesus said to them, and it was in response to the Pharisees seeing that like the disciples didn't wash their hands before they ate. You should be washing your hands before you eat, but to them they made up rules that made them unclean, okay? And then Jesus said, then the Pharisees and scribes asked him, why do your disciples not walk? Can everyone give me like the finger, like the, why? Go ahead. Give me the finger, like the, okay, yeah. Why do your disciples not walk around the tradition of the elders, but eat bread with unwashed hands? He answered and said to them, well did Isaiah prophesy of you hypocrites, as it is written, the people honor me with their lips, dangerously close to the tongue, isn't it? But their heart is far from me, and in vain they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men. For laying aside the commandment of God, you hold the tradition of men, the washing of pitchers and cups, and many other such things you do. So Jesus calls out the Pharisees. He says, hey, your lips and your tongue say one thing, but your heart is nowhere near me. That's a dangerous place to be. Jesus' words might sound harsh. However, God doesn't want your hypocritical words. He doesn't want my hypocritical words. He doesn't want their hypocritical words. Right? No matter how many words we use to praise or worship, God is impressed with the holy things when we still use the same breath to insult somebody else. We got to watch our words. Our words reflect our hearts. Consider this with me, if I've got this on the right spot. Consider this verse. This is Luke 6:45. This is one of those ones that just kind of cut to me. Out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth, can everyone say that word if you can see it? Out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. Out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. If you've got junk in your heart all the time, at some point, it's going to come out. You're going to say something, right? If in your heart is smiley faces and all the happiness or whatever, it is going to pour out of you. Out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth does what? Speaks. Questions for you. Where is your heart? If you were to like open it up, look inside, and kind of like measure like how much of it was good, how much of it was bad, you can't actually do that, but you know what I mean? Like, would it be reflective of what comes out of your mouth? What's been coming out of your mouth lately? Because we just read, it comes out of the heart. Are you building up and speaking life, or are you tearing down? Things to think about. Mark 7, verses 20 to 23 is a follow-up. Jesus said, what comes out of a man, that defiles a man. Do you guys know what the word defiles mean? It means like to make it dirty. Okay, Josh now. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lewdness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these things come from within and defile a man. The distinction is, whatever's in your heart is going to come out your mouth. That's what Jesus is saying. If you are someone who thinks about stealing or thinks about trying to get what isn't yours, eventually it's going to come out, either in your words or in your actions. If you are someone who swears in your head all the time, eventually you'll swear out loud. Raise your hand if you've done it before. You said something about, oh, I should not have said that, right? It happens. Out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. All of these things come from within and defile a man. Radical people watch their words. They watch their words. They got to be careful. They are careful about what they say. I wanted to make a couple of other connections here. Words are like tattoos. Okay? Raise your hand if you know who that person is. Who is this guy? Who is this guy, Josh? Tyler, okay. I've got to go look him up because I don't know who that is. That is an angry-looking person. Very angry-looking person. This is someone who put a tattoo. Not only a tattoo of, I think that's Michael Jackson. I think. I don't know for sure. But it's a tattoo on their face. On their face. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Good idea or bad idea to tattoo your face? Thank you for agreeing that's a bad idea. Because once the tattoo is on, there's no taking it off. I know the science. It changes the melanin in the skin cells. It's bad news. There's no undoing it, right? You can try and do artsy-fartsy stuff to cover it up and change it, whatever, but it's stuck there, right? And I know there's people in the room who have tattoos. I'm not against tattoos. I've thought about having a tattoo of a measuring tape because it's useful. I don't know. Not everyone is into tattoos. But whoever that girl marries is going to see her walking down the aisle with someone else's face on their face. There is no taking that back. Words are like that. Once they're out, there's no taking them back. Makes you think a little harder, right? I also put this on the internet because that YouTube video is out there and it is never coming down. Someone has taken a screenshot, someone has taken a screen recording, and it is there forever in the digital virtual world. It is stuck there. Any pictures of you, appropriate or not, if they make it on the internet, are stuck there. Whatever you post on Facebook or Instagram, an employer in the future might find it. Doesn't that make you measure your words a little bit? Ugh. Once it's out, there's no taking it back. It's out. Josh, were you going to add something for me? No. You sure? Okay. So, I would like you to consider a personal reflection. I know I'm kind of wrapping up and landing the plane sooner than I thought I would, but hey, it's cool. Please reach down underneath your chairs. There is a paper. No, not the warhead, not yet. Not yet. Grab a paper and a pen. And I'd like you to consider the following about your tongue. I'll get this close. Some people are like, don't bring that thing any closer. That's fine. That's fine. I won't bring it any closer. I'm really worried it's going to drip. I don't want it to drip on the floor. Say what? It looks like chicken. Write down at least one thing you said, either hurtful or helpful, this week.
That's definitely
It might be.
Did you kill one of your chickens?
I did not. I did not kill one of my chickens. That's cruel and unusual. I didn't do it this time. Right? Write down at least one thing you said that may have been hurtful or helpful this week. This week. You know what? I had some new students in my school this week. New faces. Did you? Did you say anything helpful or hurtful? Did you see someone on the bus you weren't really crazy about seeing again and say something to your friend? Did you see someone who looked like they were lost in the hallway and you're like, oh, here you go to this class? Those are some ideas. Write down at least one thing this week that you said that was either hurtful or helpful. If it was hurtful, ask God right now to help you understand why you said that. Think about it for a second. Remember, out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth, say it out loud. What's the word? Speaks. It speaks. Out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. Why did that come out of your mouth? Is it because maybe something is going on at home and because it's just so negative kind of at home that only negative comes out of you? I'm not saying that's for everyone, and that is everyone. I'm not. Are you around certain people who just have a way of talking down about others? And because that's all you hear, that's all that comes out? Right? Are you around really positive people? And that's why you said something helpful, is because you've heard other people saying it. You're like, that's a good compliment to give somebody. If it was helpful, ask God to help you use, I'm putting it away. Ask God to help you use more of those words to love others like Jesus would. We've all had those words spoken to us before, those ones that don't feel very good. It is really easy to fight back fire with fire, isn't it? It's really easy to say something back. What's really fun is saying something nice in response. It's like they don't even know what to say next. Do it. It makes them stop. It's really fun. Or, other option is walk away. Don't let them rain on your parade. Last thoughts for you. Make your words count. Make them count. How many words do you speak in a day? Raise your hand if you think it's more than 1,000. More than 2,000 words. More than 3,000. More than 4,000. More than 5,000. More than 6,000. Believe it or not, there is a difference between boys and girls. Statistically speaking, I think it's 5,000 for men and 10,000 for women. Isn't that interesting? Someone go back and fact check me. I'd love to actually see the source, but that is what I remember learning years and years ago, is that women speak twice the amount as men do. That means, ladies, you have twice the opportunity to make this decision. Right? Wonder about your words. I put it down somewhere. I don't know where I put it, but it was a mistake. Oh, well. Think about what are the implications of what your words are when you say them. Who is it, if your words are like dropping a pond into or dropping a pebble into a pond, who is it going to ripple in effect, right? Second thing, spend extra time thinking before you speak. Raise your hand if you've heard the phrase, measure twice, cut once. No carpentry people out there? There's like 3 of you. That's okay. That's all right. Measure twice, cut once. The reason is this exact same thing. You can't cut a board longer. Can we agree with that? If you cut fabric and you cut the shirt that you're making too small, there's no undoing that. It's stuck at that size. When you say something, it's out. There's no taking it back. Spend some time thinking about what it is you're about to say. I am a huge, huge fan of the third point here. Forgive when words hurt. And I also want to advocate for the other side, which is ask for forgiveness when you hurt. You know, some of you are writing down, you don't know why you hurt that other person when you said something, whatever it was. And I've got a phrase that I heard from a pastor a couple years ago before I came here, and it was, hurting people hurt people. It's really easy to hurt someone else when you're hurting. It is. Forgive when words hurt, but also ask for forgiveness when you hurt other people. I will also say this in advance. Another wise person who, when I was in Texas, taught me this. He said to me, he always ended conversations or followed up by saying, if there's anything I've said that has made you feel bad or has made you feel negative in any way, I am sorry. That's how he would always finish and follow up. He'd say, if I have misled you in any way, I want to apologize for it now because I'll be held accountable for it later. I'm sorry for hurting you. Last thing I have is choose words that help. Choose words that help. I will share one more thing before I hand this off to Jeremy, but I remember Miss Judy getting up and preaching in main service years ago. And she was talking to us kind of a little bit about journey of recovery, but one of the main truths she shared was if there's a lie or if there's something negative, you have to not only refuse to say it, but you've got to substitute it with something positive instead. You've got to reinforce it and replace it with something else. Some of you have a teeny bit of your heart that is going to be like, I don't want to, right? Like that Tyler guy, just super angry. You got to find a way to replace it. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. Choose words that help. Because radical people watch their words. Underneath your chairs, you have one more thing, and it's a warhead. It is a warhead. I would like everyone to go through the following process as you open it. Go ahead and open it. I'm going to have everyone put it in their mouth at the same time. Raise your hand if you've ever had a warhead before. Hands back down. Raise your hand if you have not. Oh boy, we got a couple people. Okay. I am warning you in advance. You are going to feel this in the sour and bitter parts of your mouth. They are going to feel like they are on fire. Are you ready? On a count of 3. Hang on. Oh, you do. Yeah, I got you. On a count of 3, put it in your mouth, and I'll tell you what to think. 3, 2, 1, go. Put it in your mouth. Hopefully, yeah. The bitter taste you feel in your mouth and have in your mouth is like those bitter words that you experience from someone else. But, people are like, ugh. What happens in 30 seconds? Wait for it. For the first 30 seconds, it's going to be sour and bitter. And after about 30 seconds to a minute, it won't be bitter anymore.
It's not bitter.
It'll be sweet.
I need the extreme one.
Yeah, I thought this was the extreme. You had blue. Get the red one. Yeah. I think the red ones are a little worse. It's just me. That was easy too? Fine. I see how it is. But that experience you had of the sour, bitter taste needs to be replaced with sweetness. Somehow. Think about that this week. Again, we love you big. I guess the last thing I'll also say is, if you have a bit of you that thinks about over and over something you've said that you wish you could take back, it is not too late. It is not too late. If you need to email somebody or text somebody or call somebody and said, I said something years ago, it still bothers me. That speaks volumes about you. I'd be very proud to hear that story. But that is it for me. Thank you guys so much.
Yay. Just a quick thing about words, okay? Y'all brushed your teeth this morning, right? and everybody used toothpaste. Did anybody try to put the toothpaste back in the bottle? It's virtually impossible, okay? If you squeeze toothpaste and you try to put it back in the bottle, it's impossible, and that's just like your words. Once they're out there, you can't take them back. You can ask for forgiveness and things like that, but nobody can reach out and grab them. So it's really important we think about that. The other thing Taylor talked about, okay, is a lot of you guys don't talk bad to people, but you talk bad to yourselves. I'm ugly. I'm not smart. I'm no good at this. I can't do this. When Taylor was saying you got to take those bad things that are buried in our hearts and you got to replace them with good. I can't do that. Well, the Bible says that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I'm ugly. No, the Bible says that I'm wonderfully and beautifully made. So whatever those things in your hearts are, we've got to replace those with biblical word so that we believe those things. And when we believe those things, those will change the words that come out of our mouths as well. Because it's not everything that goes out to people, it's what we say to ourselves too. And that's really, really important. Okay? It's not just what we talk to people, it's what we talk to ourselves. Because you know what? Sometimes we beat ourselves up far more than anybody else beats us up. And that's just the way the enemy, and I don't want you to think that you're the only one who does that. I do that to myself all the time. But then I'm brought back to the Word. But there's a lot of us who think we're the only ones who feel that way about ourselves, or we're the only ones going through those things. That's not true at all. We've all got these thoughts. But I challenge you, even if it means I don't even know what to replace with, come to a leader. If you tell us what you're going through, we'll find things to help you replace it with. Okay? Like Taylor said, if there's words that you've got out there, you said to your parents, brothers, sisters, whatever it may be, teacher, whatever, it's not too late to go ask for forgiveness at all. Okay? So, dear Lord, we just thank you for today, Lord. We thank you for the unique teaching style of Taylor, Lord. And Lord, we just ask that we don't remember the stories and the tongue, Lord, but we remember the lesson today, Lord. And that we're supposed to watch our words, Lord, and how we use them. Lord, we ask that your word be an overflow of what comes out of our bodies, Lord, and that you guide our lips, Lord. So we just thank you so much for this, and we ask that as we go forth today, Lord, and into our schools tomorrow, Lord, that we think about what was taught today, Lord, and that we speak life, just as Toby Mack said, Lord. Speak life to people rather than death, because there's so much death out there. And we'll be sure to give you all the praise, the honor, and glory in Jesus' name. And everybody said, amen. So remember the 2 dates. October 8th, 6:30 to 10:30. We're going to have game night in here. Okay? It'll be a night to come, do activities, hang out, fellowship, and stuff like that. And then October 10th, there's no quest. We're going to be serving out at the Boilermaker. We're going to be serving water. Sound good? Sit tight until they're done. I mean, don't stay here. You can be sort of just keep your voices down, but they'll dismiss you when the doors open. Have a great week.